Here we go. Love Embodied, part 1. All right. And I do believe we are live on both Instagram and Facebook, but as you're hopping on, say hi, let me know where you're joining in from. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. And as we go along, type in any questions, give me some hearts, give me some emojis, let me know that you are here so I'm not just talking to a screen. And I am Emerald Sinclair. If you're new to me, I'm pretty sure the majority of you are not new to me. But for those of you that are brand new, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here, that you're choosing to learn from me, to be in my energy. As a spiritual guide, I'm an intuitive, I'm a channeler, and ultimately what I do is to help women manifest the life of their dreams, so become a vibrational match for what it is they desire, to then call it in. And so when we go into the entire concept of love embodied, the underlying why or meaning is that when you become love, you attract it to you. And so you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So when you embody love, when you embody the relationship that you want to be in, then it will be attracted to you. So that is what we are going to get into over the course of 3 days, over these 3 master classes. And definitely grab pen and paper, type in your comments as we go. There'll be plenty of time at the end for questions as well. So I want to actually start with a reading from this book called I Am the Word by Paul Selig. It is a channeled material, which is amazing as I am continuing to work with my channeler to develop my channeling abilities. These resources and books seem to come to me. And that's one thing I've noticed, and that's what a lot of people will say is, oh, I found your live stream at the right time. It was perfect. I wasn't even looking for it. That's law of attraction. That's how life is meant to unfold. You ask for something and it shows up. Or if you're a vibrational match for something, it shows up. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. So let us begin. Let's dig into it. Nadine, hello. Chris, hello. My Mindful Therapist, hello. Ladies, hello, hello, as you are jumping on. Oh, and one other thing I want to mention, it's no surprise that I just opened the doors to my group coaching program, Single to Soulmate. So when you hear me talking about Single to Soulmate, that's my group coaching program. Our first call starts next week. Super excited to be welcoming women into that container where they get to work with me every week on a weekly basis, and also an additional high vibe community of other women around the world. So I'll be talking about that over this week as well. And with that, let us begin. Oh, before I say this, actually, I'm curious to know, what is your definition of love? So think about that for a second. Before I read to you I Am the Word in this chapter, this couple of pages on love, when you think about love, how would you define it? So if I said, Nadine, how do you define love? Chris, how do you define love? What would you say? And Facebook, if you're having any comments or questions in there, so far I haven't seen them. So sometimes that happens on Facebook. The comments don't show and I apologize. But I'm also on Instagram at Manifest with Emerald, or Instagram, I'm on Facebook at Attract and Keep a Conscious Relationship. The actual URL is facebook.com/group/manifest your soulmate. So when we talk about love embodied, you obviously need to have your own definition of love. What does love mean to you? So this I loved. The vibration of love, when it works through you fully, has powers that will bowl you over. Bowl you over. You are this love to the extent that you align to its frequency. And when you're in the energy of love, you are in love. To be in love means to be in the Creator. When people tell you they love you, they're probably saying they have a feeling for you, but they may be saying they love you. And if they are really saying it, they're holding you in love. They see you as love, and they are love incarnate when they are doing that. When you love someone in a real way, You are incarnating as love. And the love bypasses judgment or criticism, and there can be no fear in love. Now, you feel this sometimes, you've experienced it sometimes, but how do you manage it? And can you be here for an extended period? Can you be this when you're standing in line, when you're watching a ball game, when you're alone in a hospital room, or when you're teaching someone, or when you're playing a game? Can you be love incarnate as you continue on? Or is it a momentary experience to be had on occasion when you're prompted by your emotions? Your emotions are ways that you know yourself. You know how you feel, and you consequently understand yourself based on your responses. And you have partially created your identity in response to those feelings. I feel really good when I do this, so I'm going to do it more. It's actually a healthy response. So we are saying that your feelings are your allies. However, love is not a feeling. Love can be felt, but it's not a feeling. Love is a frequency. It is the action of God expressing himself through you as love. God's love is unconditional. It is unconditional. It is manifested as you, as an aspect of you. And if you want to believe that you can experience yourself as love, you can attune to it. So let's start with an intention. Repeat after me. I am now manifesting myself as the energy of love. As you manifest yourself as love, your experience begins to transform. And as it transforms, you understand yourself as a vehicle of the Creator in action. When you love, you are in love. When you are in love, you are vibrating in the frequency of love, period. So I thought that beginning page of that chapter was perfect because so many of us are experiencing conditional love. Once a man treats me a certain way, then I'll feel worthy. If he doesn't treat me a certain way, then I won't feel worthy. If he's good to me, I'll love him. If he's bad to me, I won't. So how often in your life, can you be honest with yourself, are you actually experiencing this conditionality when it comes to love? Versus what I want to dig into over this 3-part masterclass is the embodiment of love in all ways, in all situations, with all people. Knowing that when you become love, you attract love to you in all ways, in all situations, with all people. And to not have it be conditional based on someone, how someone is treating you, or if you are in relationship with that person. So many people treat their partners, their lovers, differently than they would love their children, or love their boss, or love their brother, or love their sister. But can you become the embodiment of the frequency of love in all situations? And that's challenging to do unless you trust yourself and you trust Source, which is what we will be getting into today on part 1. Because if you don't trust yourself and you don't trust in the universe, there is no way you are going to become the embodiment of love. And I wouldn't say the opposite of trust is fear, but if you're not trusting, most likely you're in a fearful state. You're scared, right? If you don't trust yourself, if you don't trust the universe, if you don't trust other human beings, I would say you're probably in fear. So that's why the trust bit is the first part. All right, who else do we got? Desiree just jumped on. Asla Mali, Lucia, hello, 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 my loves. So what is one of the first things that holds a person back from trusting themselves? Clinging to the past, telling past stories over and over and over again, expecting the past to recreate itself, looking over your rear view mirror, looking into the rear view mirror, looking over your shoulder and telling me the story of all the times you've been hurt, all the men that have hurt you. That's you clinging to the past, which is not you embodying love. That's you embodying a story. That's you being in the story. That's most likely you being in victim mentality, which is not you embodying love, which is not you attracting in a loving, healthy relationship. So how many of you, raise your hands, be honest, how many of you are actually clinging to the past? Clinging to those past stories, expecting the future to be a reflection of the past. a lot of people expect the future to be a reflection of the past, which means you're not trusting yourself as a sovereign creator, as a free will being to create anew, to choose anew in each and every moment. It means you're not trusting the universe to provide something new for you. Ultimately, it means you are stagnant. You're not going anywhere. When you continue to tell the story of the past, you will get more of the past. When you continue to tell the story of the present, which is only a reflection of the past, you will get more of the present. So how do you trust yourself? How do you let go of the past? How do you trust the universe? How do you move forward and look at where you're going instead of where you've been? Because when you look at where you've been, you're going to get more of that. When you drive a car, you don't look in the rearview mirror unless you're going backwards. When you drive a car, you don't look at the steering wheel. That's the present. To successfully and safely drive a car and get somewhere, you've got to look down the road of where you're going. So how often are you looking at the past? So with the past, I want you to appreciate the past. I want you to be grateful for the past. And this is especially pertinent with every single relationship you have ever had. Especially those intimate relationships, because that fear around it's going to happen again, he's going to hurt me again, he's going to leave me again, all men do this, that fear will be recreated unless you can release it. And when you release it, then you trust yourself, you trust the universe, you trust that the future, good and new things are coming to you. But if you cling to the past and you hold on to that story, that energetic memory, that fear of it happening again, it will most likely happen again because that's what you're clinging to. So I want you to look at the past and pull out a pen and paper right now. Alicia, hi Auntie A, love you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Now that I know the comments are working on Facebook. And it's 11:11. It's my favorite. All of your desires are coming true. So what I want you to do is pull out pen and paper. And you're probably going to continue these different exercises because most of this is just channeled. It'll just come through me as it's meant for you. Is to look for the lessons. Look for the appreciation. Look for the gratitudes from the past. That's how we transform it. If you can be grateful for what happened instead of pushing it and saying, I don't want this to happen. I didn't want this to happen. How come this happened? This shouldn't have happened. I can't believe he did this to me. That's you holding on. That's you clinging. But when you can look at the past and say, you know what? Thank you. I really appreciate my time with that person. Or maybe there's aspects of the relationship that you can appreciate. Or maybe it's the challenges because it's not going to learn that lesson again. Now I know what a red flag looks like. So I actually really want you to dig into the past, see where you're still holding on to that energy of this shouldn't have happened. I can't believe he or she did that. It's his fault, not mine. That's you clinging. That's you living in the past. That's you trying to drive your car forward while looking in the rearview mirror. And I want you to find as many things as you can with any relationship that you still hold that energy with and appreciate it. As many things that you can appreciate. As many things as you can be grateful for. Then what I want you to do is forgive. Forgive yourself. Forgive your exes. Forgive these people, everything you wrote down. Because forgiveness is ultimately saying, all right, I'm done now. I'm ready to release that energy. Forgiveness doesn't mean, hey, great, thanks. I would love that to happen again. Like, I commend you. I forgive you. Like, come on and abuse me once more. No. Forgiveness is saying, I'm done with this in my energy field. I realize I had a role here. I'm forgiving myself. I'm forgiving you. But I'm also thanking you. Thank you for the role you played. Thank you for stepping in. Thank you for teaching me that lesson. Thank you for the loving times. Thank you for the challenging times. And this is a really high level spiritual practice. I'm not going to lie to you. It's really hard to forgive and to offer gratitude and appreciation for the role that someone played in your life, especially when it's a challenging and painful emotion. But that's what we've got to do. If you want to become the embodiment of love, then you need to let go of the pain, the fear, the anger, the angst, the anxiety, all of these emotions that are at a lower vibrational frequency that are holding you down. If you think about a vibrational scale, and let's say love's on the top, then all of these like anger, angst, shame, aggression, victimhood, blame, that's holding you down here. It's like trying to swim with rocks tied to your body. So to be the embodiment of love, we've got to release these energies that are stuck in your energetic field, and it doesn't have to be any more complicated than doing a little meditation, asking yourself, what could I be grateful for? What were the lessons here? How did this serve me? And then offering forgiveness and saying, I'm willing to let this go. Not because I'm choosing to attract this in again, because I'm not willing to attract this in again, I'm releasing it. That's what the forgiveness does. It says, I don't want this anymore. But when you don't forgive, you hold. You hold that in your energy field. And so A Course in Miracles talks about forgiveness as ultimately removing the illusion of sin. Recognizing that your brother, your sister is just like you. They're flawed in their human body, but they're the same in that spark of divinity that lives within. And when you don't forgive, you're ultimately not forgiving yourself for the same, because you're willing to look at that other person and find their flaws. If you find a flaw in someone else, you can find a flaw in you. What you appreciate in someone else, you can appreciate in you. So if you want to become the embodiments of love, you need to stop judging other people and holding on to these emotions and feelings. It's time for you to step up and say, you know what, I'm human. I make mistakes. You're human. You make mistakes, but you still have that exact same spark of divinity, of love, of creation, of source. And we'll get into this more on day 3. So wherever you are still holding on to the past, it's blocking you from truly creating what you want in your future. Lucia, I just did this exercise yesterday from your book. Destination Soulmate. I'm going to do a couple readings from Destination Soulmate over the next 2 days as well. Available on Amazon. I do feel my past trauma from relationships is coming up pretty often now that I'm seeing someone. Exactly. Beautiful. And that's why relationships are vehicles for spiritual growth, because you can see your BS, your belief systems reflected. It's hard to see it when you're on your own. You still see it, and God, you'll see it with family too. Family is real big lessons and relationships for personal development and growth. So that's why I believe every relationship is something to be celebrated, because it's either going to show you what you don't want, in which case then you can shift your focus on what you do want and say, wow, thanks for showing me that I actually didn't want an abusive, narcissistic a-hole. Or thanks for showing me that was still in my energetic field and needed to be released. So when you can offer gratitude and you can offer forgiveness, that is going to move you up to a completely different level on the vibrational scale, and you're always attracting based on what you're putting out. I did this training a couple months ago on manifesting your energetic match. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. Love embodied. So if you want a higher level, beautiful, conscious, spiritual, happy, loving, fulfilling relationship, then are you being that person? Are you being what you want? You don't get what you want, you get who you are. So who are you being? Are you being a reflection of your past and your fears and your anxieties? Or are you being a reflection of your future and where it is that you're going? Alicia, my fear is I will react as I have in the past and have not changed. I've had clients say that to me before. But what I believe is that as we are continuously doing this work, as we are growing, as we are evolving, as you are changing, you're reacting differently. So we always have the opportunity to once again look at the past and say, well, this is how I've always acted. Or to look at the future, which is when this situation comes up again, this is how I'm going to act. And then just even that conscious awareness that conscious awareness of this is what I'm afraid of. This is how I've reacted in the past. This is how I'm choosing to react in the future should this come up again. Because a lesson will keep coming up until you learn it. So I would actually say, Alicia, I'm looking forward to this situation happening again so that I can act differently and prove to myself and the universe I've learned the lesson. Thank you. So let's shift that fear to excitement. I'm looking forward to learning the lesson. I'm looking forward to this happening again. I'm looking forward to showing how much to myself, to prove to myself how much I have learned, how much I have grown. I'm looking forward to showing love in situations where in the past I held anger or judgment. And when these situations come up, celebrate them. Say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And if you react less than how you would have liked to, it's fine. Then you forgive yourself, you ask yourself the lesson, and when it comes up again, you get to choose to act differently. Maybe the lesson is, oh man, I was a complete jerk. The lesson is recognizing, the lesson is apologizing. The lesson is maybe like hanging your head a little bit in shame or putting your foot in your mouth and saying, I'm so sorry. Whereas in the past, your ego might have been, I'm not going to apologize, it's not my fault. So if we can look at every situation as a lesson, then there's really nothing to be afraid of. We learn the lessons, we evolve, we spiral upward on the vibrational scale. And one thing I have noticed is as you raise your vibration, those situations in the past that were at that lower vibrational field, they don't even happen anymore. You don't see them. You're just naturally at a higher level. The I Am the Word book talks about the Christ consciousness, which does not have to be reserved only for the Christian religion, but the consciousness of love, of source energy, that pure vibration. So when you're in that pure vibration, you see things differently. And I give this example in Destination Soulmate, which is if someone says, hey, nice dress, and you're down here in lower vibration having a bad day, your thoughts might be, was they being sarcastic? What a jerk. Do I have something in my dress? Like, you're going to be responding based on the vibration you are in. But if you're up here at a higher vibration and someone says nice dress, it's thank you. I love this dress. So you will see the world based on your eyes, based on your belief systems, based on your expectations, based on your feelings, based on your vibration. And so the more you raise your vibration and get closer to the embodiment of love, the less you actually even acknowledge or see or recognize the bullshit. It's not going to be a match for you. It just doesn't show up. Or if it does, you don't see it at that level. You see the best in everyone. And as you see the best in everyone, you attract in more of those situations that match that. So, appreciating the past, offering it gratitude for the lessons, and then offering forgiveness to yourself and others. That's how we let go. That's how we stop clinging to the past. That's how we stop recreating our fears. Because if you don't acknowledge your fears, if you don't look at the lessons, if you don't offer that gratitude, you will recreate them. They will come in, I promise you that, because there's a lesson there for you. And unless you've learned the lesson, if you're just trying to push it away, it's going to keep showing up. So, how are we doing? Do we resonate with that first part? When you can let go of the past, it's a lot easier to trust yourself and trust the universe because you're no longer in that fear-based state of, oh my God, is it going to happen again, happen again, happen again, happen again? And when you look at everything as a lesson, then nothing's bad. When you keep doing this work, and we're going to get into this now, the building a spiritual practice, the faith, when you do this work, you will have naturally more trust in yourself and trust in the universe. When you can truly trust that everything is working out for you and you're always in the right place at the right time, and even in the challenging moments you find the lessons, then what is there to fear? So that's why I love the practice of affirmations. After saying for years, everything is always working out for me and I'm always in the right place at the right time, now I believe it, now I embody it. So when something happens, like my hair appointment's delayed by an hour, or big leak in my car, or breakup with the current love of my life, I can actually pause in that moment, and instead of allowing this situation to control me and control my emotions and my vibrational field, the first thing that comes to me is, okay, how is this working out for me? And when I believe that everything is working out for me, that keeps my vibration high. When I believe that I'm the victim and life is happening to me, that lowers my vibration. So I want you to think of a vibrational scale. Love is at the top. Gratitude, appreciation, let's just say a third of the way down, so 2/3 up. And then down here, clinging to the past, fear, anger, anxiety, depression, victimization, blame. So how can you work your way up the scale? A little bit every day. And we're going to get into this actually on part 2, Thursday. We're just planting some seeds here. So building a spiritual practice, having faith in the universe, trusting the universe. The one way to summarize this is if you don't have any type of spiritual, religious, faith practice, if you don't believe that there is something outside of you, that you are connected to the whole, it's going to be real freaking hard to embody love. Because if you believe you have to do it all on your own, and that the world is happening to you, and that you're not a conscious creator, that it's not a benevolent universe, that you're not co-creating, can you really trust? If you believe it's just a random universe and everything's just happening randomly, that you're not powerful, that you're not a co-creator, that you're not loved, that you didn't come from source, that you didn't come from love energy. So I'm not here to tell you that you have to believe what I believe. But one thing I can tell you is that I've noticed the more faith I have in the universe, the easier it is to be in that vibrational state of love. And honestly, the better my life gets. And one thing I've actually noticed, and I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but my friends who, not all of them mind you, but a lot of my friends who have a really strong religious practice are actually quite happy and quite successful. Because they do believe that the invisible hand of God has their back and wants them to be happy and wants them to be successful. And so they release a lot of the control. They say their prayers. They ask to be led and guided. They praise God. They thank God. I call it the universe. A lot of people call it God. So once again, I'm not here to tell you what to believe and if you should have a religious practice or a spiritual practice, but I am here to tell you, if you don't believe that there is an energy that's not you, that we're all connected to, that's love-based, that's benevolent, that wants the best for you, then it's going to be real hard to embody love. So my recommendation for you would be start digging in to books, to courses, to religions. Find what works for you. I have been on my spiritual journey for about 20 years now, reading books. Second time through A Course in Miracles, I'm reading channeled works, and I can only speak from my experience. But the deeper I go into my faith and spiritual practice, the easier it is for me to be way up here. But when I believe I'm alone in the universe, when I believe that this is just random, when I believe that nobody up there loves me, when I believe that I have to do it all on my own, whew, that's sad, that's scary, that's very egotistical, and that's not the embodiment of love. Imki, I'm saying that right, sweetie? My faith always goes ups and down. What do I do about that? That's a great question. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So my thoughts and suggestion for you would be, what is your spiritual practice like? So I have a very consistent spiritual practice. Every single day when I wake up, first of all, and this is something new that my channeler taught me, is what I say to myself is, I am consciousness manifesting through a body. So it's that reminder of I'm connected to source. I'm consciousness in my body. I'm not just the emerald. I'm consciousness acting as the emerald. Then I go through my gratitudes. Then I read my lesson from A Course in Miracles. Then I meditate. Then I journal. Then I do my prayers. Then I might journal in some more gratitudes. So I am consistently with my spiritual practice. And the consistency of my spiritual practice over the years has helped me maintain a very level line of trust. But it wasn't always this way. It was up and down when my spiritual practice wasn't consistent. So that's one thing. Second thing is, this is also mindset. So I would always be asking myself, what's the lesson here? How is this working out for me? So that when you're in challenging moments, and that's probably when your faith dips of like, oh my God, when you can connect into your higher self and say, hey, how is this working out for me? What's the lesson here? And you can hear the answer, then it's going to be a whole lot easier to maintain a consistent trust and faith in the universe instead of the up, down, up, down. So what I would suggest you do, and this is what I suggest to all my clients, when you are in a challenging moment, when it feels like the universe doesn't have your back, that's when I would suggest do a little meditation, clear your mind, and say, how is this working out for me? Help me to see this differently. Help me to see this through the eyes of love. What's the lesson here? How is this serving me? And then wait for the answer or journal the answer, that letters to God exercise. But there's a lot of different practices that are actually in Single to Soulmate in my group coaching program. It's a big part of it. There's a lot of intuition exercises that are in the Single to Soulmate program because this is how you trust yourself and this is how you trust source. You're continuously checking in with yourself and hearing that wisdom. And when you do that long enough over time, you will trust yourself. But you need to be the one to form that consistent daily practice of hearing yourself and hearing your intuition. And then over time, you will recognize this is working. My intuition is speaking to me. And the same thing with spirituality. When you form that relationship with the universe, it's not something you do once, it's something you do each and every day. And over time, you've built up that trust and faith. Think about any relationship with another human being. You don't instantly, upon the first time meeting them, trust them with your life and heart and soul and firstborn child. That trust is built over time and consistency. So I'm going to suggest the same thing with trusting the universe. That's going to happen over time with consistency. So now if we shift to the other side of the equation, so trusting the universe is about building up that faith and spiritual practice consistently. And when you perceive something is bad, I want to say one thing on that. Nothing is good or bad or right or wrong. It's the story you make up. It's the judgment you place on it. How many times in your life did you think it was the worst thing ever? And then months or even years later, you're like, wow, thank God I lost my job. Thank goodness I broke up with that person. At the time, it's challenging. When Kurt and I broke up, it was challenging. Don't get me wrong. I was in a lot of pain and sadness. But now, many, many months later, I realize how it was working out for me. He's still one of my best friends. We hang out and talk all the time. And I have so much more space in my life to be creating and nurturing other relationships and going deeper into my spiritual practice. I was able to go to Ecuador for 3 months and really dig deep into healing. And now I've really dived into my channeling practice and up-leveled at a different level. I'm going to go travel the world for at least 6 months. And he's holding on to all my stuff, so I don't have to worry about leaving my partner. I have so much more freedom. So right now I can see how this is working out for me so beautifully. At the time, back in October, it was painful. It was sad. A lot of tears and pain coming up. So nothing's good or bad. It's the story you make up. So in the moment, do you have the emotional intelligence enough to not allow the emotion to carry you away and instead pull back? Ask yourself, what's the lesson? How is this working out for me? What does my higher self think about this? These are really good questions. I'm probably going to record an entire podcast episode on that. Because this is ultimately coaching yourself and connecting to your higher self, getting out of your ego, your human form, and connecting up to your spirit, to your soul, whatever you want to call it. So Inky, however, it's an adorable name. Good question. Thank you for asking that. So trusting yourself means, in my mind, connecting to your intuition. And like I said, I have an entire module on this in Single to Soulmate, because Single to Soulmate is truly about embodying love, trusting yourself, getting in touch with your soul, so that you can call that match to you. And maybe you're not looking and ready for that match right now. That's fine. But you've got to do the work to prepare. And I believe you can have whatever you want. And I believe your desires are meant to evolve and change over time. Can you imagine if you got everything you wanted at age 5 and then you never wanted anything else again? Well, that'd be boring life. Or you got everything you wanted at age 20 and then you never wanted anything again? No. You are meant to continuously desire more. That's part of being a human being. So if you don't currently want partnership, that's okay. If you're currently in partnership, that's okay. But you're going to evolve and change and desire more. So within Single to Soulmate, I have plenty of women that have enrolled that are already in partnership or don't desire partnership right now, but then they go through the process and then within 6 or 8 months, then they're ready and they desire it because they've shifted. When you're in a fear-based state and you have a lot of trauma around relationships, you're probably not going to want another one because you're still thinking, well, shit, that sucked. I don't want that again. But when you release all that and you raise your vibration and you're up here at the embodiment of love, that's when you see the world differently and you realize, of course I want partnership. I want that love reflected back to me. I want to experience this joy, this beauty, this love, this co-creation together. Let's do this. But please don't deceive yourself and say, I don't desire love because I've been hurt in the past. That's silly. I want you to focus on, if you could have it all in partnership, what would that look like? And help you drive your car towards where you want to go versus stalled in your driveway, terrified to go anywhere because you're stuck in the past. And that's what so many people are doing. They're stalled in their driveway. Like, oh my God, the last time I drove my car, I hit a pothole. Can you imagine if that's how you drove your car based on everything that happened in the past? Like, oh, I got in an accident. I hit a red light. I broke down. I ran out of windshield wiper fluid. Oh no, I ran out of gas. My car is broken. No, put some gas in the car. Get the car fixed, repaired. So connecting to yourself, hearing your intuition, that's how you trust yourself. And I want to remind you that everything I say to you, the only reason you agree with anything I say is because it resonates with your truth. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, then it's actually not resonating with your truth, and that's okay. 100% of my truth isn't meant to be 100% of your truth. I am here as a teacher, as a guide, as a mentor to share with you what has worked for me and worked for thousands of women that have enrolled in my programs at this point. Thousands. It kind of blows my mind, actually. I'm humbled and honored, and I love that this is what I get to do. But if you don't trust yourself and you're always looking to others, then that's called codependency. And if you don't trust yourself and you're looking for others to validate you or to give you love, then you will never have it. Because if that person leaves, or if that person stops validating you, if that person stops loving you, then they just took away your love, your validation, your value, your worth. So this is all about you truly learning to trust yourself, to trust that you will know that if a man is showing the real himself to you, or when you feel it in your body of like, well, he's great on paper, but something's just not feeling right. You gotta trust that. So intuition. All of this has been talking about building relationships. So building a relationship with the universe is going to help you trust the universe. Building a relationship with yourself is going to help you trust yourself. Big surprise. So what are you doing every day to listen to yourself, to connect in, to be present, to be quiet, to journal, to meditate, to feel? Your body is a tuning fork, and just because you haven't practiced listening to your body doesn't mean your body isn't speaking to you at all times. And so there's a real easy exercise. People do the sway method. Forward is a yes, backwards is a no. They'll do kinesiology. You can use a pendulum. You can pull oracle cards. Or you can flip a coin and say heads is yes, tails is no. And then you flip the coin and you get the heads, and so it's yes, but then your body's like, ugh. That's your answer. Then the answer is no, not that you flipped a coin. So listening to yourself means that you're actually taking time each and every day to listen to yourself, and not just the logical pros and cons, but what's the heart say? What's your gut say? What does just your body say? And you taking the time to listen. For me, my body will tell me. For me, I'll just get like a flash of something in my brain. But other people will sense it. They'll hear it. They'll see it. So this is you taking the time to figure out how your intuition speaks to you. And so, like I said, we go into this deeper. We have an entire module dedicated in Single to Soulmate, because I could probably do an entire 3-hour masterclass on this. And in fact, I have a course on my website, Activating Your Intuition and Manifesting Your Soulmate. Because there's so many ways that you can form a relationship with yourself and learn how to listen to yourself and trust yourself. And this is you figuring out what works best for you. Not me telling you what works best for you. It's me saying, here's a list of 20 things to try over the coming weeks. Figure out what works for you. Oh my God, Super Sasha just joined. I love that. Super Sasha, hello. Sammy, commenting, so I remember to come back and watch this after work. Awesome. Yeah, so the replays will stay up in the Facebook group and on Instagram. I don't know for how long, because I haven't fully decided if I'm going to bundle this and turn this into a mini training, and in which case then I'm going to take the videos down because they'll only be for sale. So definitely make sure to catch the replays sooner rather than later, because I haven't fully decided that yet. So let's go into questions. Let's go into questions that we have on part 1. The next 2 parts will be on receiving pleasure, and then your connection to self, your connection to source, your connection to love. If you haven't put your email in, put your email in. Then I'm going to send you the email reminders when I'm going live, and you get the recaps and the summaries, etc. And you'll be on my mailing list, which means you'll get little love bites of information sent to your inbox multiple times a week. Who doesn't want that? Courtney, this is freaky coincidence. I'm taking notes, and you said almost verbatim exactly what I wrote down as a reminder to myself in regards to trust and confirmation. Oh, I love that. I've been noticing lately that I'm getting the same lessons from multiple sources. As in a book I'm reading, and A Course in Miracles, and what my business coach is telling me, and what my channeler tells me. I will get the exact same message from 4 different sources in the same week, and this has been happening for weeks now. It's like, all right, I'm listening, I get it, right? It's like, how many times do I need to hear it before I get it, before I embody it? And that's what's happening with lessons in your life. They will keep showing up until you learn the lesson. So look for the lessons so that you can learn them and cycle up and up level and move on. If you want to embody love, then you have to let go of the past. You have to learn the lessons. You've got to find the appreciation, the gratitude for what has been, because it brought you where you are. Don't stay stuck, terrified in your driveway of moving forward because you're looking in your rear view mirror. Look to the past to release it and let it go and appreciate it, sure. Learn the lesson. It's kind of like if you got in a car accident. Oh, what was the lesson? Was I texting and driving? Did I not look before I merged? Did I run through a red light? You're going to learn. That's how we learn to drive, by making those mistakes. So every relationship in the past is how you've learned, and it's what brought you to today. So I want you to look to the past, find the lessons, be appreciative, forgive yourself, forgive others, so that you can confidently pull out of your driveway and drive where it is you want to go when it comes to partnerships. Lucia, yes, let go of the past certainly keeps coming up, because that's the lesson you need to hear. That's the lesson you need to learn right now. That is what is meant for you. That's why it keeps coming up. So, questions, type them in on this topic about trusting yourself and trusting source. Single to Soulmate, my group coaching program, the doors have officially opened. Our first call is next week. I removed the time limit. And what I mean by that is the group coaching program used to be 6 months. It's infinite now. Because what I was noticing is some women would attract in a great relationship right away, some women wouldn't, and then they would think, oh, I failed because I didn't do it. I didn't do it in the 6-month time period. I don't want you to have that pressure. And instead, by releasing that pressure, the catch-22 is it will actually speed up your manifestations, knowing I've got all the time in the world, I've got support as long as I need it. So the doors are open. You can join us. You can join us today, tomorrow, next week, next year. The special I have going on until June 1st is $500 off enrollment. So that's the only pressure if you want to have the $500 off. But other than that, there's no pressure. When you're ready to join us, join us. I'll be there with all the modules, all the videos, all the hypnosis, all the meditations, everything meant to help you let go of the past so that you can confidently drive forward towards the relationship that you desire and not be held back by the fear from your past. All right, do we not have any questions? Does everybody completely understand how to trust themselves and trust Source? So part 2 will be on Thursday, not tomorrow, Thursday, same time. Part 3 will be Friday, same time. The link for Single to Soulmate is in the bio and Instagram. And Facebook, I'll type it in after I'm done on this live, but it's emeraldsinclair.com/single to soulmate. If you want to check it out, see the page, look at all the love stories and testimonials and transformations so that you can get inspired. Because if you don't believe something's going to happen, you're not going to take action towards it. So you've got to believe, you've got to shift the mindset. But for those of you who are already excited and want to dig deeper and believe that this is possible for them, then go right ahead, jump in, join us. There's pre-work available for you, including my spiritual practice, digging deeper into building a consistent spiritual practice. All right. Instagram, look at all these amazing souls. Yes. All right, so then your homework between now and Thursday is you're gonna dig into every single past relationship and look for the lesson. Then you're gonna forgive yourself and forgive the person. And then you're gonna express gratitude and appreciation to the person and the lesson. That's how you let go of the past. And if it feels right, what's your North Star? Where are you headed? If you could have anything you wanted in partnership, what would that look like? So now you're creating based on desire versus creating based on fear. You're deciding what you want based on desire versus deciding what you want based on fear. I make decisions from a place of desire. I make purchases from a place of desire. I don't make a purchase from a place of fear. I make a purchase from a place of empowerment, from desire, from what I want based on where I'm going, not the fear of where I've been. So this is the work that needs to happen. All right, so for those of you that are watching the replay, if you have any questions, type them in as we go along. As you've done these exercises, feel free to post in the Facebook group or comment below the video if you've got any reflections that you would like my comments upon or my celebrations. Alicia, thank you. Excellent advice and course today. Yes, you are welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for deciding that I want to embody love, that I don't want to be caught up on my fears and anxieties of the past. So I'm sending you all so much freaking love from my corner of Colorado. And I will see you all on Thursday. Have a beautiful day.